Everyone wants to know when the Bitcoin bottom is. Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you one of the things that typically happens at the very end of the Bitcoin bear market and at the bottoms of bear markets to potentially give you a better idea of when we will see a bottom. So first and foremost, some crazy things have happened recently, and that is the largest Bitcoin miner, Core Scientific, just filed for bankruptcy the other day after losing almost $650 million in just 3 months. This is the largest Bitcoin miner in the world, which just declared bankruptcy, and they cited multiple things because of the Bitcoin price, obviously plummeting, high energy costs, and when there was actually a lot more miners coming on the network over the last year, which rose the difficulty as well. So when you have the income paid in BTC going down, you've got the price of Bitcoin going down, you've got the energy prices going up, and then they have a bunch of debt and lenders like Celsius were not paying them back. It creates a very, very difficult environment for them. Also, we saw another huge data center called Compute North that operated in a lot of different areas, but one of their core operations were in Texas. They work with companies like Compass Mining and other large miners, and they are essentially the operator and data center behind an energy provider behind the actual facilities. And they just actually declared bankruptcy as well, which has halted a lot of operations for all of these large scale Bitcoin miners because now their operator is no longer in business and they're having to switch operators and go through the entire bankruptcy filings and all of that nonsense. So why am I bringing all this up? The reason is because if we look at previous cycles, you can see that there's something called the hash ribbons, which we've talked about a few times on this channel, but you'll see that this indicator shows a buying signal when two things happen. Number one, we have a decrease in the difficulty. So you see this red right here, right? You see a decrease in difficulty, and then you see it tick back up, which means that Bitcoin miners start to unplug their miners. People start to give up on mining because most of the time it's because of the economic benefit is not outweighing the cost of it. So you'll see a lot of people that run these mining businesses that are over leveraged, their energy costs are too high. They just aren't, prudent business owners. They typically will start to unplug all of their miners once you see a big capitulation event. And then once this ticks back up, it prints a buy signal. And if we go back and look at the very bottoms of bear markets, like in 2015, we actually saw this flash quite a few times. This was the first big one on the big capitulation event. And then there were quite a few buying signals down here, which wasn't quite the bottom, it was right after the bottom. But all of these in a conglomerate really at the form of this base of the bottom in 2015. And this is just a lot of confusion right here. People, the miners turning on, then off, then on, then off, because they're trying to figure out, hey, is this Bitcoin thing even going to be a thing to move forward after it has a massive, 87% correction. Then in 2018, same thing, right? But less of a buy signal. We had 2017 and 2018 was pretty streamlined. We had a just up rally the whole time, down rally, and then a big capitulation event. We see the buy signal because miners came off the network once it actually sold off from 6K to 3K. Then they came right back on once we formed that bottoming process in 2018. And then you see some typically scattered throughout. We've got the COVID crash. We got a lot of confusing things going on during this time. And then you'll see happen right before this massive rally. We had, over in China, they banned Bitcoin mining, and that's what this really big move was because all the China miners had to go somewhere else. And now we had the first buy signal being printed here, and now we're having all these other mining companies, like I just mentioned, going bankrupt. So we're starting to once again see the hash rate and difficulty come down, and then once this actually corrects and comes back up, we're going to print another buy signal, which could give us a much higher likelihood that we are at the bottom. This is what you want to see. It's obviously not great to see companies go bankrupt really ever, but typically this is what you want to see at the last leg of the bear market is miners going bankrupt, or at least unplugging their miners so the difficulty comes down. And it's just a natural weeding out of the players that over leverage and don't have an efficient business model. It just happens in business cycles. And this typically happens at the very end of the 1 year bear market that we've seen with the previous Bitcoin cycles, the 3 years of bull market, 1 year of a bear market. I'll also show you just some other statistics. The hash rate, over long periods of time, it's been consistently going up because there's more and more conviction in Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's been, it's up millions of percent over the last 10 years. But you will see these big corrections in the hash rate, and we're starting to get a nice correction right now. If we were to look at some of the miner balances, you'll see that the miner balances, typically they like to sell when the price rises. So you'll see in 2017, they sold into this price going parabolic, which is smart, right? They're realizing profit from mining for 3 years before that, right? So they're trying to realize profit and then hold some cash and expand their operations. Some of them will just take loans against them, but usually a lot of the miners will sell against price appreciation. But the unfortunate part is, yes, they did that, this year, and they sold somewhat early a little bit. And you see they sold really heavily right when Bitcoin came up to right around like 40,000. And then it had a pretty big dip. Then they increased their balances because they kept mining once China said, hey, no more Bitcoin mining. But now, unfortunately, at the very bottom of the bear market, they are having to sell their Bitcoin because they're being forced to sell because they need liquidity to try to make it through this tough time. And that is exactly what is happening right now. It's a natural weeding out process of a typical business cycle. And in crypto, it's been 4 year cycles, 3 years of bull market, 1 year of a bear market. We're into the 12th and 13th month of this bear market, and we're starting to see those capitulation events. So the question is, when are we going to get this next buy signal? The more buy signals you have in a shorter amount of time, the more conviction that you have that this indicator is going to, show that Bitcoin's price is likely to head up. Obviously, no one indicator will ever show you exactly what the price is going to do, but it does help. The closer you have these buy signals, the more often you have them, especially at the end of the bear markets, that can give you further confirmation that potentially there's a bear market, we're at the end of the bear market and the bull market is starting. And if you go back and actually plot, I've talked about this in previous videos, but this hash ribbons indicator is actually very accurate. If you were to look, it's like 80% of the time, it's pretty accurate, where you see at least a 50% price appreciation in the price of Bitcoin over the next few months after it shows these buy signals. So go ahead and do some research on that, or go look at the videos that I posted about the hash ribbons indicator back in July, I believe I posted that. All right. Anyways, let me know what your thoughts are in this bear market. Do you think it's good that miners are going bankrupt, or do you think that is bad for this industry? Let me know in the comments section below. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you have a happy holidays, and I hope to see you here on this next video.